What's happening, people? I'm back with another RS3 video. In the last one, the RS3 went stage 2, is pushing about 520 brake horsepower now. If you haven't checked it out already, make sure you go check that video out. We'll be changing the brake pads. The car's done about just over 17,000 miles. The discs are okay, but the brake pads are low, and I think it's a perfect time to upgrade to something a bit better. I've never actually done a brake job on an RS3 before. I have done a lot of other cars, hundreds of other cars. I've done all types of brake calipers. I've done Porsches, BMWs, etc. But never got to do an RS3 before, so it'll be quite interesting. The RS3 has 8 brake pads just in the front. So let's just think about that. It's a big caliper. And I've checked with Audi as well. The brake job from Audi, just the pads, not the discs, is almost £1,000, and with discs is almost touching £2,000. So it's definitely worth doing it yourself. Brake pads on a car can actually be a complicated subject, especially when it comes to performance cars. So on normal cars, you have something called organic compound. So it's a soft compound that is made for the streets. It doesn't perform very well when it gets hot. It keeps the noise levels down, it keeps the wear down, and it keeps the brake dust down, and it's perfect for daily cars. But it will not be safe to use on a performance car, especially a fast performance car. Street performance cars, you have something called a medium compound, or in this case it could be ceramics or semi-metallics, I think they call it, something along those lines. These are racing pads made for the streets. Basically, they can take a lot of heat, they can perform under a lot of heat, as well as performing well just right out the bat. And then you have the racing pad, which are designed for the track. They can go lap on lap on lap without fading. And fade is basically the pad getting hot and the efficiency of the pad just reducing, causing the braking performance to reduce as well. So yeah, so these pads, they are great for stopping, especially while the braking system is hot, but they are very noisy. They can let out sparks in some cases. They'll cover your wheels in dust. And yeah, they're just not suitable for the road. Choosing the right pad for your car can be quite complicated. The best thing you can do is a lot of research and see what people have tried and what they have tested. So these are the pads I decided to go with. Mintex Racing. I think the number is M1155. This is a medium racing compound. It just means it's effective at high temperatures, but also daily driving is pretty good. So it's perfect for fast road use. I wouldn't really recommend it. I mean, people don't really recommend it for the track. Maybe one lap, 2 laps. But you'd have to get something a bit more hardcore if you do decide to track these cars. I've never actually used these pads before. I always go for Ferrodo DS2500s. But this time, a lot of people recommended these, so I thought let's try something different. So there's actually 8 pads for the RS3, just for the front. And these also don't come with a brake sensor, whereas the genuine ones do come with a brake sensor. Now this could cause a brake pad light on your cluster, on your dash, on your clocks. But I'll show you a way around it, so it's not it won't be a problem for us. So you're gonna start off by obviously taking the tire off. I'm starting with the passenger side first, just because I got more room on this side. The car is absolutely filthy. Please just ignore that. I'm gonna wash it probably after winter now. The brake caliper itself is absolutely massive. It is a 8-port caliper. That's my hand for reference. Makes sense why it needs 8 brake pads as well. Okay, so looking at the caliper, it looks like there is a sliding pin over here and a sliding pin over here with the retaining clips. You could change these. Some people do change these, but the mileage of the car, these are not too old, so I'm going to reuse them this time around. Maybe next time we'll change them. So I'm just going to hammer these out. I'm going to use this extension, so just in case the hammer doesn't hit any other parts of the caliper. And then once the brake pads are out, we'll clean the caliper as well. Now I'm just going to use this little pick. What do you call it? I don't know what you call it, but that should just push it out all the way. And then from here, I can grab it with a plier and pull it out. So you can see in here, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pistons in one caliper. Now a normal car, such as, or even some of the GTIs, the lower spec GTIs, they will come with one piston. So to push the pistons back, I'm just going to use 2 screwdrivers. I'm going to do the top first, put the pads in, and then I'm going to do the bottom. You take this piece off. There you go, that's just this little piece over here. Now it should be a lot easier to take the brake pads out. Before I take the bottom pads out, I'm just going to clean the caliper and put the top pads back in, because once I compress the pistons, it will, once I decompress the pistons, it will compress the upper ones automatically. So I'm just going to pour a bit of lubricants on the edges of the brake pads, anything that makes contact with the caliper. Just a tiny bit. I've used this for a while. It's called, it's good for performance cars, for brake pads that get quite hot, and you only want to put a tiny bit on. Just around the edges. This pad can go in. Tap with the hammer from behind till it goes in all the way. Exact same with the bottom one as well. Same thing on the other side, so let's do that, and then we're gonna go bed these brake pads in. This is the brake sensor over here. As you can see, it was just about to trigger before I changed the brake pads. That goes and connects to this connector, but we can use this sensor, this existing sensor, and rewire it to stop that light from coming on with some of these aftermarket pads. This is what you'll have to do: cut the sensor off the original brake pad, and then let's expose some of these wires. And strip the other one as well. Let me explain the theory behind this. So the way these brake sensors work, there is a piece of material that connects these two wires together. When that material touches the brake disc, it gets wiped away and the connection separates, and that opens the circuit and triggers the brake light. All we need to do is reconnect the wires, complete the circuit again, tape them up. I'm gonna use some heat shrink, self-soldering heat shrink, and that should keep the light off. Alright guys, so we waited till it got a bit quieter on the roads. We're just gonna do the bedding in procedure now. So with every manufacturer, the bedding in procedure is slightly different. With these Mintex, it's, I believe you have to do 3 stops 30 to 0 miles per hour. 30 to basically a complete stop, and then you have to do by 7 to 8 90 miles per hour to 30 miles per hour. So I know it's a little bit on the illegal side, but at night if you do it at a good time, it should be alright. So we're just about to do the 30 to 0 now. Just checking there's no cars behind me. 30 miles per hour and steadily just take it to 0, and we can start again. So this, you're not going to be slamming onto the brakes. Even when you're doing the 90 to 30, you don't want to be slamming onto the brakes. Just do it nice steady braking, just getting the heat cycle through the pads. We're just going to do another one just slightly over 30, but as long as we brake steadily, we'll be alright. And just make sure you drive for at least like 20 seconds, 30 seconds or whatever before you brake again, especially when you're doing the 90 miles per hour ones. Then that just puts it through the full heat cycle of getting the brake pad cold and then heating it up again. Just about to do my third one for 30 to 0 miles per hour. No cars behind, and steady braking. There you go. That's 0 miles per hour. Now we're gonna do the 90 to 30 miles per hour. I'll just show you one, and then it's the exact same thing 8 times. So I'm sure you don't want to see it again and again. So let's just go to about 90 miles per hour. And we're gonna brake steadily all the way to 30 and carry on going. That's it. Repeat that 7 times for these brake pads. But if you are changing your own brake pads, just check the bedding in procedure for that manufacturer, because it will be different for almost every different manufacturers. This just makes the whole experience a lot better. Your brake pads are less likely to squeal. You're just gonna have less issues with them, especially if you're putting onto even if you're using brand new discs. You still have to make the pad to the disc. There is a slightly different procedure if you have changed the disc, so you will have to run the disc through the heat cycle first, and all it is, you just drive around town for about an hour or so, and then go do the bedding in procedure. That way you'll be all good. But yeah, anyways, that was a quick little video today. Back to the CLA next week, so I know a lot of people are wondering what's happening with that, but don't worry about that. In the next video, make sure you check it out. The video will be up next Monday, so I'll see you guys then.